Greetings once again from James Lee McFarland, also known as Gentleman Jim. He's the brother from Harlem with the high school education. Now you guys keep hearing me say high school education. I want to kind of give you guys a real breakdown and outlook on the high school of fashion industry. First and foremost, the high school of fashion industry was not that name in the beginning. It was called the Central High School of Needle Trades. And in 1958, they decided to build a new building. And they changed the name from the Central High School of Needle Trades to Fashion Industry. Why, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But you have to understand, as I explained earlier, all my life, the schools that were built in New York were built around the turn of the century. So they were always old buildings. I don't care how new they seemed to be, they were still built a long time ago. I entered into the school in 1959, so the school was really just 1 year old. Now, what did that mean? First of all, I'd never been in a new school. I'd never been in a school building that was 10 stories high. That's right, 10 stories high. I believe, I don't know, that it's the tallest high school in America. I don't know of any other high school that's 10 stories high. And one of the reasons is because in New York, you know, the buildings are elongated, they built up. So this school sat in the middle of a residential neighborhood where folk lived. On this side there were people living, on that side there were people living, and across the street there were people living. This is 24th Street between 8th and 7th Avenue. This is the, as they call it, the Soho district. Mainly in those days, there were a number of factories all around us, everywhere you looked, except this one street where we were all residential. Now you go around the corner and you find factories, but this street was all residential. Now the high school of fashion industry was built and designed to feed the garment industry with qualified workers. Like I say, when I got ready to get out of high school, they had thousands of jobs that I could choose from. A lot of them were factory jobs, a lot of them were over here in a specialty shop, or one over here, or this, that, and the other. Now I learned a lot about that as I went and stayed in school long enough. But I want to show you guys, this is my yearbook from 1962 when I graduated. Now, it's been weathered 50 plus years, alrighty. I got it taped up with some black tape because it was really falling apart. But I mean, after 50 something years, the paper that was used was kind of, well, it wasn't what they use today. But this was our yearbook. Now, let me tell you what's the difference between the high school fashion industry today opposed to then. Today, the curriculums are a lot, they don't have as many curriculums as they had when I was there. They mainly have today the fashion part of it. Mainly, now, the one thing they'll always have is the sewing part. They're going to teach you how to sew, and you're going to become an excellent sewer. But what they give after that is mainly the fashions and the illustration, some merchandising, a few things like that. There's a waiting list to get into this high school because, number one, it's on a high school level. It teaches you what these colleges teach you after high school. So you get all of that and more, much, much, much more before you even get out of high school. So a lot of the young people, they don't go any further. If you're serious about this industry and you go to that high school, you're going into business some kind of way, either working for somebody or yourself. And it's easily done in today's world with our so-called social media. You know, social media travels this far, it travels that far, it goes everywhere. Okay? So it's easy to become your own entrepreneur in this business once you get good and great at it. And trust me when I tell you, I tell all my students this, that when you get that good, they come looking for you. You don't have to worry about it. You post something on social media, they will find you. But when I was in school, they taught more of the industry. Why? Because the industry was there. Well, it's not there anymore. When I was going to school, For women's wear, they had basically the fashion design part. You're going to learn how to sew, so I'm not even going to bring that up because that was mandatory that you learn how to sew. So you had women's wear, you had costume designing, you had some women's tailoring, but not the same as the men's tailoring. You had millinery. Millinery is when you make hats. You had foundation and undergarments. That's where they taught mainly young ladies how to make brassieres and corsets and panties and things along that, undergarments. They had those, and then they had interior design, they had decorating, they had merchandising, things along that line, mainly for the ladies. Now here's where it changed. For the guys, for the guys, they had men's tailoring, ladies tailoring. They had pattern making, they had cutting, they had grading, okay? They had a shoe department where they taught you how to make shoes. They had a fur department where they taught you how to make mink coats and fur hats and things of that nature. Then they had upholstery. And in upholstery, they taught you how to make furniture as well as refurbish it. That's reupholstering furniture. They had all of these things that they offered. We had textile testing, which taught you about the different fabrics, both the naturals and the synthetics. So the school offered so much, and to this day it offers, just doesn't offer those tailoring and the things that the guys went to school for then. They mainly are strictly fashion designing, but it's still the best. That school will teach you more than any one of these colleges that have fashion department attached to them. They teach you more than they'll ever teach you. One of the reasons why, they teach you how to sew. And my thing is, in this industry, it's the sewing that counts more than anything else. Because the design part is really just recreating something that somebody else did and add your little twist to it. But if you're an excellent seamstress or an excellent tailor, dressmaker, it's endless of what you can do. The main thing is the foundation. That's the sewing part. If you can sew, the world is looking for you. Why? Because people are dissatisfied with what's being made in these third world countries. And there are very few manufacturers left in America that you could go to and get quality work. So, I always talk about this school because of what it did for me. And because it did what it did for me, there's no way I can't go. You know, I can go to the east, I can go to the west, you understand? I can go north, I can go south. This is an industry that you literally pick up, take it with you wherever you go. And more than likely, wherever you go, you'll be successful with what I got out of this to go and earn a living. I don't care where you go. There's always somebody that wants something made, but mainly there's always somebody who wants something fixed. And when you learn this industry, that's what it does for you. You never go broke. You always make money. You know, when people are downsized out of a job or technology is taking over this is the only industry that technology can't take over, because whatever technology took over when I was coming up and the little after I got into it is very little. I'd almost say that the garment industry from its inception didn't lose but maybe 10% of the workers that it took to make it happen. Now, I don't know about those numbers are that accurate. I only know that when I got into it, when I first went into that school in 1959, and I looked at the machinery and how they did things, changed ever so slight. The new stuff is mainly from the art part of it. Computers can help you design it, change it around. It could make the marker, which is the patterns. Well, you still need somebody to operate the machine. So you didn't really lose that many jobs. Then from the markers, once it's marker, they have laser cutters that cut the garment out. It goes round and round and round. But that's about it. So that's why I always recommend the high school fashion industry, because it's what it did for me. Now, I want to leave you with that so you'll kind of understand what it was like when I went to school compared to what it is today. So, once again, Gentleman Jim, the tailor, the brother from Harlem with the high school education. And now I'm going to get into the next part of my series, what it was like going to that school in 1959. I graduated in 1962. It was a blessing, a blessing, a blessing. I thank you. Be blessed. I'll be back. So you guys hang in there with me. It's getting better.